Thank you so much, Dhanya, for bringing me up. And great collaboration, Sri Ram and Ramnath ji. Wonderful transformation story. And I really loved the LYL video. I'm eagerly waiting my daughter to grow up so that I can enroll her in that program. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic, which is cholesterol. Okay. And before, it is a very common topic. Okay. And the commonality of this topic itself makes it very interesting. Okay, so let me begin. Okay, so first of all, according to the American Heart Association, about 30% of total population is high in cholesterol. What that means, out of 8.2 billion people on the planet, 2.46 billion people have high cholesterol issues. Now, this number is staggering, right? Now, when we hear this term cholesterol, right, we all have a sense of fear because it is associated with heart health, cardiovascular diseases. But let's learn about what's the reality behind it. First, let's learn to answer this question: what cholesterol is. Have you ever thought about it, or we just get scared while hearing the term itself? Okay, so cholesterol is just a fat molecule. Very interesting thing about this molecule is it doesn't give you any energy. You can eat it, but it doesn't get converted into any energy, but it do a lot of other stuff. We will discuss that. Okay, so let's take a look at our digestion, right? Whenever we eat fat, it get emulsified so that it can be get absorbed in the small intestine and can be carried to cell and tissues. It also comes back to the liver where it gets packaged into something called as lipoproteins. Now, this lipoprotein is a very special structure. The main reason for doing this packaging because fat and water doesn't mix well, right? And if you take a look at our blood is 60% plasma, 40% cells, and that 60% plasma is 90% water. So we know fat and water doesn't mix, right? So lipoprotein is important because you pack the fat in a protein structure so that it can carry easily in your bloodstream, right? So based on this packaging, the different shapes and sizes and the composition, there is a 5 different types of lipid molecules, okay, lipoproteins. Let's first take a look at VLDL, very low density lipoprotein. It contains lot of triglycerides and some cholesterol in it. It delivers it to your muscles and fat cells, okay, the fat energy. Once the delivery is done, it gets shrunk and converted into LDL, which is low density lipoprotein. Now, this LDL is informally known as the bad guy, correct? And why is that? Because it has an association with the plaque buildup in our arteries. And HDL is considered as good cholesterol because it lifts the LDL and bring it back to the liver for excretion or recycling, right? Now, how we get this cholesterol from where? Correct. So there are two ways. First, our body itself synthesizes a lot of cholesterol, almost about 75% of it. And then we can also eat cholesterol from our diet. So all the animal source, okay, will have some cholesterol in it. If you are a vegan, actually you're not getting any cholesterol from your diet. No plants contain cholesterol, only animals contain cholesterol. But you don't have to worry about it because your body synthesizes enough cholesterol for its own use. Cholesterol is very useful thing for the body. All the cell membrane itself is 30% made up of cholesterol. Lot of important steroid hormones in our body, like testosterone, estrogen, all that is made with the help of cholesterol. And of course, the bile salts, right? So that you can enjoy the fat food. Uh, Otherwise, you won't be able to digest it. Not only that, but even vitamin D3 is manufactured with the cholesterol stored in your skin when the sunlight falls on it. There is a way to quantify your cholesterol by doing a simple lipid profile. Okay. Now, this is a sample report of someone. If you look at the numbers, right, this numbers looks pretty high. Okay. If you show it to a doctor, they are immediately going to recommend a statin drug because the cholesterol was really, really high. But what statin really does to you? Okay, let's have an informed decision about it. Okay, first of all, statin do lowers the cholesterol. That is correct. But again, we are lowering it with the assumption that cholesterol is bad for our health. Okay. But what kind of cholesterol it reduces? Okay. Do we really want that kind to get reduced? We will answer that. Okay. Does it prevent heart disease? Actually, there is no strong evidence behind it. Same thing for longevity. How long will you live longer if you are on statin drugs? Actually, again, there is no strong proof. Side effects? Oh, yes, lot of it. Okay. So, first of all, I want all of you to get out of the notion of high and low cholesterol and rather shift to more balanced and unbalanced cholesterol. Okay. So, what I mean by that, 190 total cholesterol could still be unhealthy, although it is within the range of 200. And 350 could be healthy, although it is way higher than the normal range, right? But again, bad numbers are still a problem. You should look a little bit deeper. Some more numbers. Which number? Again, I'm going to introduce. But what I'm trying to tell here is we have to fight the root cause and not the rescue attempt. Let me explain that with an example. Okay. Whenever there is a fire accident, you will always find firemen fighting it. Okay. So there is an association of fire and the firemen. Now, same thing, let's think from a cholesterol or LDL perspective. LDL in our arteries is actually there to do something, to fight something. Okay. It's not the cause for the plague itself. Okay. It's a very important. So in this scenario, right, if we always see firemen and fire together, we cannot blame the firemen that you are the cause of the fire. If we are doing that, we are actually eliminating the wrong guy, the good guy here. Okay. So same way, cholesterol has a different purpose. It is not the bad guy. So far we knew that cholesterol was behind all the heart issues. Everyone was scaring us. But then what is the real cause of heart diseases if it's not cholesterol? Okay, let's try to understand this. Okay. So the first real cause is inflammation. Second is insulin resistance. And third is oxidative stress. Now, there is a very, very strong correlation and research to back this up. There's a strong correlation between these three parameters and cardiovascular diseases, and a very weak association of cholesterol and cardiovascular diseases. Okay. Now, when the cholesterol is unbalanced, there are certain indicators I have listed here that we have to look and we should look them. Individually, any of them will not give you the real picture, but when we look at them together, we can know a lot about our LDLs and cholesterols. Okay. So first, let me talk about the sugar and the fat. We all know a lot of talks have been given on carbohydrate, glucose, processed food. If you take a lot of them, your insulin resistance will increase, which is one of the root causes, by the way. And if it continues for a longer time, insulin resistance, your HbA1c will improve, and then you will be diabetic. And then if you eat a lot of saturated fats, your triglyceride will shoot up. And again, your cell will develop resistance for both glucose and fat. Okay. Now, there is one corner case in which, although you are following a very healthy lifestyle, still your LDL is always high. In that case, I recommend a genetic mutation LDLR test, which is LDL receptor test. If it is a positive, then maybe starting some drugs is not a bad idea. Okay. Now let's take a look at a very important indicator, which most of us, all of us look at, right? Which is LDL. So if you look at these numbers, right? Cholesterol total, 299, it's quite high, like 100 point higher than the top range. Then LDL-C, this is the cholesterol stored in your LDL lipoproteins. Again, like very, very high than the range, right? 225. If you show this number to your doctor, immediately you are going to get statins. Now, this is not enough. Okay. Why? Because LDL size matter. There are two categories of LDLs basically. There is a pattern A and pattern B. Pattern A we call as fluffy LDL. They are the big fluffy LDLs and they are absolutely safe. They cannot do any damage to your arteries. On the other hand, there is a pattern B, and this is what the unwanted LDL is, and we want to get rid of this guy. Okay. So there are tests in order to count them. There is an LDL-P particle count test. The recommendation is the particle count of total LDL particles in your body should be less than 1,000. Now, in this case, for this person, it is 1478. There is a small LDL particle count, which is the pattern B. And the recommendation is it should be less than 527. And this person have 227 value. Okay. And then there is an average size of LDL itself, which should fall below between this range. And the value is quite good for this person. So what I mean by this is 225 is not a bad value if most of it is coming from the big fluffy LDL types. Okay. Now, let's try to understand all this from what exactly is happening from the cholesterol recycling perspective and also when we take statins for that matter. Okay, so here is our liver. When we eat fat, liver pack them into VLDL molecules with a lot of triglycerides and cholesterol in it to get delivered to fat, to tissues in the body. After delivery, the VLDL get converted into fluffy LDL. Okay, then this fluffy LDL will get back to the liver through a receptor. Okay. This receptor understands the fluffy LDL. It will take it in, again, repackage it with more triglyceride and cholesterol for the delivery. Now, if everything is good, everything is healthy, the cycle goes on very smoothly and you will not have any problem. But when LDL size is disturbed because of oxidative stress, inflammation, or glycation, then this fluffy LDL get oxidized, okay, and get damaged because of the sugar on the surface, okay? And now the receptor on the liver cannot recognize this. And then it's a big problem. Why? Because it will start accumulating in your blood and it will show your LDL is rising, okay? Now, why it happened? Why oxidative stress, inflammation, glycation increased? Again, because sugar intake, insulin resistance, food allergies, stress, all that reason will contribute to this. Now, what is the real cause of plaque then, right? Actually, the real cause is damage to the intima by this oxidized LDL. This oxidized LDL then slips through, okay, the intima. Now, if you look at the picture very closely, the plaque is not within the vein. Okay, it is actually behind the first layer of the skin. Okay, the internal part of this is called intima. Intima layer is not actually accumulating the plaque. It just become damaged and then the oxidized LDL is passing through it. Okay. Now, when this LDL is oxidized, it will not recognize by the body anything healthy. Okay. So it has to be treated as some sort of virus or toxicity, okay, a bacteria for that matter, and it has to be removed. So a white blood cell component called as macrophage will follow it and will try to gobble. So you can think of a macrophage like a Pac-Man, okay? It will try to eliminate that threat to the body by gobbling it. And in that process, the macrophage itself dies when it takes too much of oxidized LDL in, and it becomes a foam cell. And that foam cell again start contributing to the plaque formation itself. So this is very important to understand, right? LDL just slipped through because of a damage in intima, and the macrophage, your white blood cells, your no prevention mechanism of your body, okay, when it went behind it, it created more problem than prevention, right? Now, how statins are going to make this thing better or worse? Let's try to understand that. So when you take a statin pills, the LDL is supposed to reduce and it does reduce on your reports. Okay. So one of the effects of statins is the liver will increase the receptors. Why? Because once you start taking statins, your good fluffy LDL will reduce and body will now create a more demand for LDL. That's why liver will try to recycle more and more of it. But there is no change in oxidized LDL. They are still floating around in your blood doing the damages. Okay. So one thing that statin indirectly is helping is there will be less of fluffy LDL for oxidization. So indirectly it is helping, but we don't want fluffy LDL to get reduced. Your body is producing fluffy LDL because it needs it. Your body will never produce something just like that. It always needed. That's why high fluffy LDL is not a problem. Okay. Now, what is the hidden cost when we try to force lowering cholesterol by taking some drugs? Okay. So this HMG CoA reductase is an enzyme, which is a very important enzyme in the pathway to the manufacturing of cholesterol itself. This drug inhibits this. Now, HMG CoA reductase in the process creates an FPP molecule, which internally gets converted to cholesterol and also to coenzyme Q10. Okay. Now, this coenzyme Q10 is a very, very important cofactor coenzyme because 95% of your energy in your mitochondria is produced because of this. So now you see the problem. If you inhibit HMG CoA, you inhibit FPP, and you inhibit both cholesterol and coenzyme Q10. That's why, as one of the side effects, you are going to become less energy, your muscles will become, and you will feel fatigue. Okay. So now, what is the solution? How I minimize and prevent this oxidized LDL if that is the very important person in the LDL case? First is, as it is an oxidative process, you have to eat a lot of antioxidants. A very, very good source of antioxidants is fruits and vegetables in the raw format. Vitamin E, vitamin C is a great antioxidant component. You have to eat good amount of fats, avocados, omega-3, nuts, seeds, all that will give you an advantage. Okay. In order to maintain a healthy cholesterol metabolism, the WQ lifestyle recommendation, whatever you are following, will always work. One very important point I want to highlight is if you are following a healthy lifestyle and all your parameters, like the indicators that I mentioned, okay, apart from cholesterol itself, if they are balanced, you should not be worried too much about cholesterol. Okay. Again, as a disclaimer, don't ignore it. Discuss it with your health professional, your coaches, and take a deeper look if it is required. Okay. So maintain your wellness pillars and do remember LDL size matters. Okay. So don't fear cholesterol, understand it, balance it, and let it work for you. With that, I'm done. Thank you so much. Back to the host.
Wow. Vijay, thank you so much.